These last 2 weeks of marathon training were pivotal. The peak of the build. And they didn't quite go how I expected.
That one was so fucking hard.
Welcome back to the 4th episode of my Build Don't Break series, where I am documenting my marathon training leading up to the Paris Marathon, where my goal is to run under 3 hours, and this will be the 3rd time I'm trying to do that. This is a relatively unique marathon build with only 8 weeks to really put in proper work and training. In this episode, we're going to be covering the last 2 weeks, which everything was leading up to this. This was the peak of the build, the most volume and the highest intensity. 4 weeks out from the marathon was the hardest workout and then probably the hardest run I've ever done. It was also the longest run of the build. So starting with the workout on Wednesday, midweek, we're doing a lactate threshold run. Should be a good workout.
All right, just got the buzz from the watch, so we're into it.
It was a tough one. It was an 8-mile workout run with 6 by half mile at half marathon pace.
Okay, first one done. I'm gassed already. Second one done at 6:25 pace. It's perfect. Man, it's not easy, but it's probably really good for me. That one was a little spicy. So halfway through the reps, that was a 6:14. Okay. Oh shit. 6:18. All right, number 5, starting now. One more to go.
I ended up again running these a little too hot.
6:05. Yikes.
The goal was to be hitting about a 6:30 to a 6:35 pace, and I think I ended up averaging like a 6:20 pace.
That might have been the hardest workout of this whole block so far.
That's just me, honestly, still figuring out how to be a disciplined runner, I think, at the end of the day.
Workout for week 4 went super well. As usual, I ran a little too fast, but all in all, really good. Felt strong. It was definitely a hard effort. Now I just gotta rest and recover and manage my 2 easy runs this week, and then prepare for the 22 miler on Sunday. Give it a proper go.
I will say that I think this marathon block is, it's unique for a few reasons, but one of them being 2 weeks out, I'll be doing a 20-mile run. And I think that the only reason that my coach has me doing that is just to try to get me absolutely as fit as possible with the time that we have allotted. And we just have to take advantage of that. But that means that just ends up being that we crunch those into a shorter time period and with less of a taper. It's interesting, but we're up for it. My long run at the end of week 4 was a doozy. It was obviously the most intense run of the 8-week build. Morning, today's the day. Just doing my warm-up routine right now. Getting my legs warmed up, my Achilles warmed up so we can get going, but let's go.
About to start the race pace segments in about a mile. Warm-up's going good so far. Just keeping a 7:45 pace. So not quite easy, but steady. It's gonna be a long fucking run. Holy shit. Oh.
The fitness was all there for the run, but mentally it was a grind. I think it was the first time that I had real doubts in my mind about sustaining my goal marathon pace for 26.2 miles.
Whew. One more to go. Oh. That was probably one of the hardest runs I've ever done in my life. Really happy to have that under my belt. It was, it was challenging as far as conditioning goes. This was really pushing the upper limits of what I was capable of. One other factor that played a role was just trying to keep my nutrition down. Definitely felt some nausea. At the very end, I thought I was for sure gonna throw up, but I was able to keep it down. I know that's probably gonna be a challenge during the race, is just trying to convince myself to eat when I really don't want to. Like, my body, everything wants to reject taking down a gel, but managed to get 4 40-gram gels in. Overall, the run went according to plan and can't ask for more than that, so I'm happy.
So this long run was not the biggest confidence booster, but it did give me some perspective that my mental game, my mental composure is just as important and needs to be taken into consideration as much as trying to hit my splits and my numbers during a workout. Going into week 3, I was still pretty cooked even 2-3 days after that run, and so I had to go into my midweek workout with a little bit of fatigue. Today I have my midweek workout, which will be tough. My body's feeling pretty tired today. Kind of lacked energy all day, and my sleep's been all right, but the body is just, it's working. All right, we're in the first mile at half marathon pace, hitting 6:30. That was really hard. Gotta catch my breath. And I think I hit a 6:35, so we're good. Now we're just hitting 7 to 7:15s for the next 4 miles. So 7:06 on that first mile of 4. That's steady state. Okay, I'm halfway through the run now, and I'm feeling a lot better. Hitting my 7-minute paces on these steady state miles. And I have 2 more, and then I have 1 more mile at 10K pace. So just gotta finish strong. But yeah, I think that I just needed a few miles to warm up there, get out of my mental fog. Another good sign, I was able to perform even while being fatigued from the big run earlier. You're not going to feel 100% every single run, but just getting the work done and checking it off the list is encouraging. It got me into a good headspace going into my last big long run at the end of week 3.
Starting my 20-mile run this morning. It's a beautiful sunny day. Hopefully I can get it all finished up before the heat gets too out of hand. But yeah, warmed up, so gonna get going.
We're almost done with the warm-up miles. We're gonna head into the steady state splits for 4 miles. The goal there is to hit about a 7 to 7:15 pace. So about 6 miles into the run right now. Okay, just wrapped up the steady state miles. Hit them all at 7-minute pace, so it was perfect. Feeling good, feeling well, staying ahead of my electrolytes. And I got a 2-mile rest right now. And then into marathon pace miles for 2. 14 miles in, race pace segment is over. Finished it up, I hit 6:40 and 6:39, so a little faster than needed. And then I just have 2 more miles at sub-marathon pace, and then close it out for 20 miles total. But feeling good. better than I thought I would. But the only issue is my Achilles doesn't feel super great, but I think it should be fine after a couple days of rest and some PT. So again, I'm always crossing my fingers these days. Okay. Whew. Just finished up the sub marathon pace miles. Hit them both under 6:40, so happy with that. Just gotta do a cool down to 20 miles and all done. All the long runs are over. Yeah, a great run overall. Really happy with that. Happy with where my mental game was. And it was a hard effort too, so yeah, all positive signs other than the Achilles not feeling too hot right now.
So it's a few hours now after my 20-mile run, the last really long run of the block, and it might have been my favorite run and the best run I've had in a long time. Quite a contrast from last week's 22-mile run. Not from an execution standpoint, they both went well, but from a mental standpoint and just kind of how I'm feeling afterwards. One, I'm definitely more energetic right now, like I'm not as depleted. And two, I felt really, really strong during that run. No mental demons really came out to mess with me this run. And granted, it was a slightly less intense effort than last week's. It still had some high tempo mileage that, made it a really good training run. One of the highlights of the run for me was the last 2-mile segment at sub-marathon pace. I felt strong, like I could keep it up for a while, and I was at miles 17 and 18 of my run. So later stages, I had already done some race pace miles and some up-tempo steady state miles at that point, and I had controlled breathing. I was able to stay ahead of my nutrition and take down my gels as scheduled with no real nausea or stomach issues. And surprisingly, my whole mindset, even just from last week to this week, has improved just after this one run. Yeah, it was quite a boost of confidence. So even though this has only been a very short training block compared to the average, I would say it's probably been the hardest, the most challenging training block that I've had. And to be past the peak of all the work that's been done feels quite satisfying. Now I get to focus on just tapering down, dialing down my mileage, focusing on a few more key workouts that I still need to get done, just some speed work probably, but for the most part, much more relaxed and focus on recovery. And then probably the most important part is getting over to France, adjusting to the time change, and getting my routines, my sleep as unaffected as possible. And that's about all I can do as far as getting prepared. So at this point, I'm just excited. I'm excited for the travel. I'm excited to be in Paris with my wife and my friends and go out and try to hit this goal. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. All right, that's a wrap on weeks 4 and 3 of my marathon build. If you've enjoyed tuning in so far and are curious about how everything plays out on race day, go ahead and subscribe. And next up will be episode 5, the 5th and final installment of this Build Don't Break series, where you and I both will find out whether or not I'm able to run under 3 hours at Paris.